Hey, what's going on? This is Coach Lewis Shine. Hey, today I want to talk about three-point line defense. This is something that's near and dear to me because throughout my years of being a college basketball coach, I aimed to find out what a team was doing, and I wanted to cut off what that team was trying to do in order to execute their offense or what they were trying to do. So when we came up against three-point shooting teams, I had just a vengeance on the inside of me to say, you know what, they're not getting any three-pointers against us. They're not going to win the game by hitting 8, 9, 10 three-pointers on us. And as a matter of fact, you know, I didn't want another team attempting 30 three-pointers. You know, if a team is attempting 30 three-pointers and you're able to look at their stats for their last 3 games or several games, and they're shooting 30 to 40 three-pointers, then you know they're a shooting team and they're depending on their three-point shot to win the game. So, and then you can take a look at how many threes are they hitting and who's hitting them. So, looking at the prior stats from games, it gives you a good idea of what a team is trying to do. So when you get ready to go into your scout for a specific team that, you know, you're playing next or you're playing tomorrow or whatever, the stats easily tell you what they do. And so based on what they do, then you can formulate your game plan, your scout, your video, your film session for that game and your practice. So let's just talk about an example. You know, if a team's hitting, you look at their past stats and you got a player on their team that's hitting 4 for 7 threes and you got another player shooting 5 for 5, and you know that the last 3 games they've scored 30 points off of their three-pointers, and they have an average of 70 points a game. So let's just do the math. If they're averaging 70 points a game and they're averaging 8 to 10 three-pointers a game, that's 24 to 30 points that they're depending on based on the statistics to get to their average. So in my mind, I'm thinking like, all right, we're not going to let them get the threes because, you know, first of all, we know about three-pointers, you know, you get 3 points, you know, so we don't want that. Secondly, three-pointers give a team momentum. And then thirdly, three-pointers can break your back if you're playing them and they're hitting a 3 on you and you're hitting 2s, they're hitting 3s. So we don't want that. So, you know, we're going to cut that off. So this is one of the things that you can do in practice. This is one of the things that my team did. And we were one of the top teams in the nation in three-point defense. And so one of the things you can do in practice is make sure that you have strong perimeter presence. You know, one of the things we used to drill in practice when I was a coach was our three-point defense. Number one, you know, with the way style I play, we play full court press. We're gonna press you all game. We're all in your face when you catch the ball, and a lot of times what we did was we played all out denial around the perimeter. So we didn't stand around the perimeter and let people just get free passes from the wing to the top and just a free pass to the top to the wing. Like, you know, why are we letting teams just get free passes? I mean, aren't we out there playing defense? Like, don't let them just play catch around the perimeter and they pass the ball and our man close out. And they pass it, we watch the pass go, and then our man closes out. What's all that energy for if we're not trying to get the ball? Sometimes the ball zips right past our hand and we're right here, but because we tell our players not to deny, then the player just catches it and then we're just sitting there. My motto is make it hard. This is the first step to playing perimeter D. Like, make it hard for the player to catch it, because if you're making it hard for them to catch it, to even square up, you know, there's no three-pointer possible, you know, because they're trying to get the ball. They're spending energy trying to get the ball or enter the ball into the offense to the wing, or they're spending time trying to catch it and making jab moves just to get open. But if you teach your players all out denial, then you're taking the three-pointer away by default because they're trying to get the ball. So that's one thing. Also, another thing is if you're naturally playing denial defense, even if you're running off a screen and you're going around to catch a person, which the way I teach it is, if a player is crossing the court, they're doing some kind of down screens and back up, man, even if you get screened, you should be fighting through that screen. And so you got to teach your players how to fight through the screens. Even if you're fighting through the screen, you should be fighting at such an intensity that even if the player catches it, by the time they catch it and square up, you're in their face. So it's hard for them to get a three-pointer off because you're right there. All right, so that's the second part of it. You're all out denial, but to all out deny, your intensity has to be already high. So even if they catch it and you miss the denial or you miss getting in the passing lane, you're already there. All right, so that's the second step. So now the third step is now you're in their face. Now you can play defense at a proximity where they're not just raising over you getting the shot off. I mean, if they do that, they're a really premier great shooter. But if you're in somebody's face right here, then the next thing I used to teach my player is time their jump shot. So if they do get it and you're right here with them and they raise up, you're right here. So I taught my players how to block that shot. We're not letting, it is impossible. If we do what we're supposed to do, it's impossible for them to get the three-pointer off. It is completely impossible. All right. So also when you have a player and you close out on them and you get close, you have to, now see, I taught my players this. You have to teach your players this. Sometimes I see coaches teach players that they have to have a distance so the player won't beat them. Okay, that's one part of it. But if you teach your players how to play close to a player and move with the player and drop their foot as they go, so that you won't get beat off the dribble, then the offensive player has a problem, because now you've taught your defensive players different skills and techniques in order to not get beat off the dribble, as well as play the player close. But you have to teach that kind of stuff. And that's the kind of foot speed and quickness and different things you have to implement into your preseason training plan. That's one of the things we did. We did ladders. We did foot quickness and those type of things so that we can, when I had a person playing man-to-man on the shooter could not breathe. I can remember playing a game where there was a team that we played where the player was 40+% from the three-point line, and they averaged over 20 points a game. Well, when we played them, I was cutting that out. They were not getting that. So I had my two best defensive players on the team that say, hey, we may not be able to stop everybody, but out of their 70, 80 points a game that they average, we're taking that 20+ points out the game. I don't care what else we do. We're taking that. They're not scoring 20+ points from her on mostly three-pointers. It's just not happening. And so we drilled that in practice. And a lot of times I would get in practice just to give them a faster speed than the player that they would face, because nobody in the league is going to be faster than myself, you know. So I'm going to give them a look in the scout that is going to be better than what they're going to guard. That way, when they get in, they're easily guarding that person. So you have to, so we took that person out, throughout the game. I had two people running at them, and it was two of my players that was really good at playing close proximity defense. They were up on them when they caught the ball. I told them, I want them to feel you breathe when they touch the ball. I don't want you to help off of that person. I don't want you to do any of that. So we locked that person up. That person had 2 points that game. They lost the game and we won. That was a big part of it. So if you have a three-point shooting team, you have to cut off that three-point shooter, the main three-point shooter. Take one of them out. But if you have a quick enough defense and you teach your rotations in such a way where the person knows how to get to the defense quickly, the offense quickly, when they're shooters on the perimeter, you can take the three-pointer away from them and make them have to go away from their game and play another way. I've been watching some games and I just see so many teams just let teams just shoot three-pointers, like wide open three. Like, how do you have people shooting wide open threes? But you have to work on that defensive rotation in practice. You have to do red drills. You have to have it to where players must get to the perimeter quickly. They can't run to the perimeter and just lollygag over and throw a hand up and then the three-pointer goes in. No, it has to be a strong urgency. You have to drill it. 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 And one of my premises in my practices was defense. We're trying to shut people down. We're trying to get to that 3-point line. The 3-pointer will not kill us. It will never happen. And that's something that I really, really was passionate about. So I drilled that in more ways than one. So I just wanted to throw that motivation out, man, that, hey, do not let a team beat you by 3-pointers. Like, if they're shooting 3-pointers in your face and they're just elevating over you and you're reaching to the sky and you just gave it your all and they hit the 3, man, they worked for it. Congratulations. We give them a hand clap. But outside of that, man, you got to take that 3-pointer away. So if you got any comments, leave them down below. Please subscribe to my channel and make sure you like this video and reach out to me if you got more questions about this. I was grateful to be able to have some success in this area as a acting head coach at the D2 level. And we had one of the best 3-point defenses in the country. So reach out to me. I'd love to answer your questions by leaving a comment below, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace.